Shalom uvrocha to everyone. This week's Parshas Sisa, I want to share with you an idea that I think is very basic and fundamental and will hopefully help us take the heilige energies we got from Purim and carry it on with us vital. We all know everyone gave and donated things to the Mishkan. The Gemara says in Megillah Daf Kaf Tes Amud Beis that there was 3 different types of donations. Gimel Tumois Hen, there's for the Mizbeach and for the Bedek Habayis. And the one I want to discuss is the one that was for the Adanim. The Adanim are what held up all the poles of the Mishkan. So in a nutshell, they represent the infrastructure. They are the infrastructure of the Mishkan. And we know that Dafka, everyone had to participate in it. Every Yid. Not only did they have to participate in it, they have to bring machatzit shekel. And that's what we do on Mincha before Purim. Zecher to that, we bring 3 machatzit shekel. That is for the 3 different donations. And machatzit shekel to remember this idea. So the Mefarshim will ask, why half a shekel? Why not a full shekel? That's question number 1, we're going to try to touch upon. And question number 2, why dafka for the Adanim, we were forced to give him a chatzitza shekel and we can't bring as much as we want? No matter how rich you are, how poor, everyone has to give the same. What is the idea behind that? And why is it dafka true about what represents the infrastructure of the Mishkan, dafka the Adanim? So I saw in the sefer called Be'er Yosef, that he comes to deal with this question, and he explains the following. Based on a lot of Mefarshim, Rabbeinu Bechai in Parshas Pkudei, as well as Nefesh HaChaim, Shar Aleph Perek Dalet over there in the Haggadah, they all go on to say how there's a very tight coupling between what the Mishkan represents and each one of us. As we know, V'shachanti betocham, we represent the Mishkan as well. And from the Mishkan and all its vessels, the kelim of the Mishkan, we can learn a lot about how to conduct ourselves and how HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world and all the worlds above us, and how we're supposed to conduct ourselves. And just to give 2 short examples, we know that the Aroin, where the Luchos Abris were placed, and we know that represents the Talmid Chacham, it said on it, Toichoy Kevoro, he has to have his chitzonius, his external, the way he conducts himself, to be the same as internal, not to be fake. By the way, b'derech hagav, in brackets, I heard b'Shem Rav Tzvi Cheshin a morde kevot that merumas in the words in Lashon HaKodesh toichoy kevaroi is this idea that the external has to equal the internal. If you took the external letters, there are 4 external letters, the first and last of the first word, and the first and last of the second word, and it spells out toichoy, which means the external letters represents the idea of internal toichoy. Do the exact opposite, take all the internal letters, i.e. all the letters except for the 4 I just discussed, and you'll see that it spells out kevaroi, which represents external. So the internal letters represent external. Unbelievable, only in Lashon HaKodesh you have such a thing. Close bracket. Akol panim, seeing that the Mishkan represents that, then we can understand that the Adanim, that are the infrastructure of the Mishkan, they represent Emunah. Emunah in Hashem. And in Emunah, everyone has to be the same. Everyone has to be perfect. Everyone has to strive at least to be perfect, and that's why we're all the same. Everyone has to have a chelik, that's for sure. Everyone has to have a chelik in the Emunah. As Chazal teach us in the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf Tzadi Tes Amud Aleph, that it says over there, Kidvar Hashem Biza, that's a person that doesn't believe in the Torah Min HaShamayim. And even if a person says, I believe in everything in the Torah except for one pasuk, that's also a horrible thing. Al Zeh Ne'emar Kidvar Hashem Biza. So we see that from the perspective of Emunah, which the Adanim represents, everyone has to be and strive to be shalom in that. And that's why everyone has to have a chelik in that. And that's what the Adanim represent. The infrastructure of the Mishkan, we said the Mishkan represents all the worlds and the way we're supposed to conduct ourselves. And that's why the Adonim, everyone had to have a chelik in them. By the way, another parallel that we see that the Mishkan teaches us how to conduct ourselves, Rabbeinu Bechai in Parshas Pkudei explains that if you look carefully, it says 248 times Asiya, like V'asuli Mikdash, in all the Meleches Mishkan. Why? Because those 248 times represents the 248 limbs we have, and which represents the 248 mitzvahs aseh that we have in the Torah. So once again, you see this tightly coupled parallel where the Mishkan teaches us how to conduct ourselves. As well, we said the Emunah is the infrastructure of the Mishkan. As we know, the Gemara in Makos says that Chabakuk ve'midan alachad. He summarized all the mitzvahs in one. Sheneemar ve'tzadik be'emunoso yichyeh. It's all a matter of emunah. And that has to be the infrastructure, and that's what the Adonim represent, and hence it's imperative that we all have a chelik in that. The question we still have that remains is, okay, so based on what we said, fakert, it makes a lot more sense that everyone should give a full shekel. We all have to be complete in this mitzvah. So I want to suggest my own idea is maybe if we look at it as if we're not complete, we'll always strive to be better and better in our mitzvah and emunah, and we know there's levels of emunah, and perhaps that's why it's machatzis shekel representing that. But the idea I saw brought down is based on a Gemara in the Yerushalmi in Shkalim. And it says, one answer to this question, why they dafka gave machatzis shekel, is because machatzit is half in the middle, and just like they sinned in Chet HaEgel in the middle of the day, so too, this came to atone for that, the building of the Mishkan, as we know, and the donations for the Adonim. And therefore also that has to be machatzit, half a shekel. And the question still remains, okay, ma'akesha, what does one have to do with the other? So what? If time-wise, Chet HaEgel happened in the middle of the day, so just as a resemblance, we give half a shekel? So in the Sefer I'm quoting from, he says an interesting idea. He says, if you live your life realizing that you're only seeing a glimpse of everything, we're only here for 120 years if we're lucky, but we're only here for a little glimpse. We can't cheshbon everything we see and try to understand, oh, why did Hashem do that? We can't. We don't have the kelim, we don't have the vessels to chap what's going on. If a person lives with that idea that we're only here in halftime, we only see a certain window of what's going on. With that in the back of our minds, that can strengthen our emunah, because we won't start judging and asking, why is this happening? Why come he got something good and I didn't? And zelo matchil. You realize you're just here, you totally trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's why, indeed, when things happen to us in this world that are not so easy for us, we are commanded to say the bracha Dayana Emes, because we can't see. We trust Hashem's the Dayana Emes, the true of all judges, but we can't see it. And it's okay that we cry for things and it hurts us. But we know, in our minds, we know that everything's for the best. And in the world to come, as we spoke out last week, the bracha will be a toiva meitiv, because we'll see and we'll realize why everything is for the best. I'd like to end with two short stories. One's a maisa that happened here a couple of weeks ago. As we know, there was a very sad event, a pigua, that some Yimach Shmam, they ran over a family, a father and two of his kids. And the kids passed away, and the father was in a coma. He just woke up a week and a half ago. And they waited till he was a bit strong enough to be able to hear the bad news that his two sons passed away. And the second he heard that, the first thing he did is it says Baruch Dayana Emes, which is what you're supposed to do. It's unbelievable that he was able to do that. And then right after, he burst out crying. Yiratzon, that we'll all be able to have this strong emunah, which is, as Chabakuk told us, Hemidam alachat. That is the foundations, that's the infrastructure. That's what the Adonim represent, and that's why it's imperative we all have a chelik in that. Yiratzon, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us the koyach to continue going mala besulam ha'emunah, and then in the midos and all the other mitzvahs. Have a good Shabbos.